Hi and good evening, Bacha Party. Welcome to Supergrads. My name is Abhyansh, and I'm sure you people have been waiting for this session for the last 5 to 10 minutes. I apologize for the delay. It's time we begin our rapid revision for the upcoming IIM Bangalore program. And good evening, everyone. Good evening, guys. And what do I have in store for you people in this session? RCs, super important. Then we have para completion, we have odd sentences, we have bits of grammar and bits of vocabulary as well, just to make sure that if there are questions of grammar and vocabulary, आप वो कर पाए. So I am Bangalore, rapid revision, VARC session starts now. And without any further delay, students, let's begin with the first passage that we have. Here is the first passage for today's session, students. I know you people have been waiting for the session for the last 10 minutes. I think there was some tech technical thing, but I believe everything is resolved now. Let's begin, guys. Here is our first passage for today's session. And of course, the passage is followed by 4 questions. But passage bhi bataunga, and at the same time, we'll talk about what strategies can we use in such passages. How can we make sure that we do these passages in in a few minutes. Of course, बहुत ज़्यादा time waste ना हो और जल्दी हम ये passages कर पाए. How can we do that? So if I were in the exam scenario, what would my approach be? It would be, of course, quite simple. पैसेज में मैं हमेशा आपको दो चीजों पर बड़ा emphasize करता हूँ. The number one thing is the art of skipping things. Is it too risky to skip things? I think इस क्वेश्चन का आंसर आपको मिल जाएगा by the end of the session. And the art of developing a forethought. आप पैसेज की दो लाइन पढ़ के कैसे ये समझ पाते हो कि in which direction is the passage moving. If you can do that, you'll save a lot of time, and of course practice के साथ ये हो जाता है. So ठीक है, if you want, I can give you a minute to read it, and then we will proceed to the next part of this passage. Done, students. Please let me know when you people are done reading the passage. I know it's been some time since we have had sessions on YouTube. चलो, I think I given you people enough time. Of course, ये तो आप प्रैक्टिस में करते ही हो ना कि पैसेज रीड किया, क्वेश्चंस आंसर कर रहे हैं. ये तो हम करते ही हैं. बट what's different in this session then? ये सेशन क्यों अटेंड कर रहे हो? So I'll tell you the reason for that. Now in Paris they talk about a magazine, and the magazine purpose was for to investigate stories. So the magazine puts up a question to people. And what was that question? How would you live your last few days if you knew the world was coming to an end? Now, since magazine is for the public, magazine is the question is for the public to answer. So there might be different answers based on the different profession that people have. Profession पे बहुत ये rely करेगा कि लोगों के इसके ऊपर क्या answers थे. There might be some answers that might be interesting, शायद उन पर आगे discussion हो. So that is what I say कि forethought होना चाहिए पढ़ने से. Now a literary gentleman said कि uh, that would drive people either to the nearest church or to their bedroom. Although he himself said that he would climb a mountain and admire the scenery. Actress said that people would actually improve and become honest and shed silly inhibitions, silly preoccupations in their mind that they have. And another reader, yes, subjective answers होंगे, ठीक है, ये बिल्कुल सही बोल रहा हूँ आर्गव. Another reader declared that he would play the last round of, so probably he's a golf lover or a bridge lover. But the answer that fascinated the author the most, वो answer है of his favorite novelist Marcel Proust. He said that life would suddenly become. He said that it would wake us from the slumber of our moral life, whereas where negligence deadens desire, life would become wonderful. And for one visit, his desires were quite simple. He said he would visit Love, throw himself at the feet of an unnamed woman, and take a trip to India. So he wants to enjoy his life. That is what he says. कि यार अगर मुझे पता है that these are my last days, so इसके उन days को enjoy करने के different तरीके थे. But unfortunately, 4 months later, he died without doing any of these things. Now, his recipe was quite simple, and it was brilliant as well. Shed our pretensions of immortality, renew our taste for life, discover new possibilities, and reassess our priorities. And live joyfully, of course. इसी बात को और थोड़ा पैराफ्रेज करके और थोड़ा डिफरेंट वे में नित्स ने प्रेजेंट किया. एंड it says we should consider every day lost in which we have not danced at least once, and we should call every day false which we have not accompanied by at least one laugh. So these were the opinions, but of course the story centers around Marcel Proust. So what does the author make of it? ये डिस्कशन यहाँ पर लिखा हुआ है. Let's quickly read this part, students, so that we can go to the questions now. Now, this is the part, students, that is underlined. This is a part that is underlined because we have one of the questions from this part. So now if I read this part, he says there are two kinds of people in the world, the minority group and the majority group. Minority group are centered toward themselves. They want to enjoy the life. They're not concerned about anything. They want happiness. The majority group wants to inflict unhappiness on people. That is what he says. So यहाँ पर लिखा हुआ है, देखो minority group के लिए लिखा है they are inner directed. Now there's a phrase in contrast. So the moment you see in contrast लिखा है, what should you do? Should you read this part or should you skip this part, students? क्या बोलते हो? What would you do? Would you skip this part or would you read the entire line? That is what I said when that is what I meant when I said the art of skipping is super important. ये part आप skip कर सकते हो क्योंकि if I say contrast के पहले there is inner directed, so of course the other part would be outer directed. So that is what this short passage was all about. It's time we move to the questions, students. And here is our first question. In the context of the passage, which of the following is true regarding Marcel Proust? Yes, rather we should try and skim that part. अगर पूरी तरह skip करने में डर लग रहा है, you can skim through it. That is again not a problem. So here is our first question, students. In the context of the passage, which of the following is true regarding Marcel Proust? So never married, again, this is not something that we know about Marcel Proust. All we know about him is that he had three desires if his life were to end. Proust believed that knowledge of imminence of death would make a person gloomy. No, no, no. He believed the exact opposite of it. कि we should consider कि हाँ यार death तो होना ही है. So why worry about it? So Proust believed that to the happy believe that यहाँ पे I think it should be to be happy we have to believe in our mortality. We have to believe that we are going to die one day and enjoy the time that we have before we die. So we must believe in mortality. B में इसकी उल्टी बात लिखी हुई, so that is incorrect. The correct answer to this question is option C, students. Let's move to the next question. Which of the following cannot be inferred from the passage? Cannot be inferred from the passage. Here's your question, students. Yes, that is what he says. You have to accept mortality. Now, the minority is dedicated to happiness, looking at themselves. This is true. Majority is dedicated to unhappiness. This is also true. Proust was, as a person, would be considered in the minority group, and this in the majority group. I think this is something we cannot infer. Visit new galleries. Yes, he wanted to do that. So the statements that we have in option A, B, and D are the ones that are correct. C में जो बात लिखी है, this is something that we cannot infer. Now in the underline part, मैं आपको बता रहा हूँ, and you have to tell how many articles should be there. This is the underline part. Imagine this being the underline part. I am convinced से लेकर happiness तक. How many places, how many articles do you think should be in this part? So, if we read this part, students, I am convinced that the world, I think the world hona chahiye, is divided into two types of people. The minority as a group who are dedicated to happiness, and the majority. So, I think there are three places wherein we can use articles, students. So, C again must be the correct answer, which brings us to the last question from this passage. So, novelist कहाँ लिखा हुआ है? Here it is. My favorite novelist. What do you think? Which part of speech is novelist, students? So, my is a possessive adjective. Favorite again is an adjective. And novelist, students, is a noun here. So, the correct answer for question 4 would be noun. That was your first passage, followed by 4 questions. We are done with this part, students. Let's move to the next passage. Here it is. Here is the next passage, guys. Here is the next passage, students. It's a comparison between the two countries and the heroes of these countries. Okay, so you have some questions here. Where to find English syllabus? You can find it on the internet. Nahin, Khushi, I would say that is not the right approach. Uh, Probably if we had time, मैं उस पर discussion कुछ करता, but with so here's your passage, students. I think I've given you people enough time to read this. So basically it talks about that heroes, और जो हमारे भाई हम जिन्हें हीरो वर्शिप करते हैं, they should not be politicians, because वो हमारे लिए कितना भी अच्छा करना चाहे, we try, we being humans, we just have this habit of looking at things in a different way. We just have this habit of looking at the things from the back side, कि यार कुछ तो गड़बड़ है, कुछ इसमें इनका भी कुछ पर्सनल इंटेंट है, पर्सनल मोटिव है. So every nation must have its heroes. Having lost its stars for the independence era, Indians were desperately seeking new ones who might inspire them in this unheroic decade. PV Narasimha Rao, like Deng Xiaoping in China, could have been a hero. Deng had created an economic revolution in China, and he had he had replaced Mao in many Chinese hearts. Rao too created an economic revolution in India, but unlike Deng, he turned out of lack of vision and conviction. He was a reluctant reformer, and by the end of the decade, he was mired in corruption. Corruption में फंस गए थे. He was in that quagmire, in that difficult situation. Cases are no longer respective. VP Singh also could have been a hero. So it talks about VP Singh trying to mandalize things. मतलब कोटा, ओबीसी सिस्टम, ओबीसी कोटा करना, लोगों को आगे लाना. But his story also ended up in the drain. He ended up dividing society and seriously compromising standards. If he had genuinely cared for backward classes, what he would have tried to deliver them education and healthcare. That is what the author thinks. कि यार अगर आपको किसी backward class को support करना है, so try to provide them education, try to provide them healthcare instead of giving them some kind of reservation or quota. So he, of course, didn't work. His plans, he, of course, couldn't be the hero that we were looking for. Talking about Manmohan Singh and P. Chidambaram, former finance ministers, they were also heroes, indeed with a solid record of achievement and reform. But in the end, politics was not kind to them, and they were languishing by the end of the decade. They were languishing by the end of the decade. So 1991 to 2000 was such a decade. We were looking for heroes, but we somehow couldn't get one. Then they gave us different examples of V. Kurian, examples of Sam Petroda, C. Subramaniam, Amartya Sen, Mother Teresa, Sachin Tendulkar. So what they want to say is कि यार political लोगों को अगर hero बनाने जाएंगे ना, तो कहीं ना कहीं we will think that they are doing this only for the votes and not for the benefit of the country. Languishing is in a bad condition, in a very desperate condition. That is what languishing is. So I'll move out. I'll give you people time to read this part, and then we will answer the questions that follow. So I believe everyone is done reading this part. It's time we move to the questions. So, in what terms is PV Narasimha Rao very similar to Deng Xiaoping of China? So, the passage talks about bringing an economic revolution in the country. Both of them served as head. No. Both of them brought about economic revolution into their respective countries. That is what the passage says. So, again, a easy question, I would say. Okay. Next question, students. According to the author, why did VP Singh fail in his attempt to mandalize our society? Why did he fail to do that? Because people thought कि our society को divide करना है. And people thought that he was doing it for the sake of electoral gains. So because the public understood that that this was being done with electoral gains in mind. According to the author, how can a leader help to alleviate the backward classes? How can they help? Uh, how can they mitigate the problem that backward classes face? So I'll give you 20 seconds for this, students. I can give you only 20 seconds for this question. So for this question, the passage says कि a leader can help the backward classes by attempting to deliver health and education to them instead of providing them any kind of quota or reservation. So ये बात passage में लिखा हुआ था. Next question, students. Question number 8. Ushering. So the word ushering means guiding them. Guiding would be the correct word here. So these were our two passages for today's session, followed by four good questions. It's time we move to the next category. That is, okay, the next category is choosing the odd one out. So numbering कुछ ऐसा है, students. Please ignore this numbering. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Which of the you don't need to arrange the other ones. I don't want you people to tell me the correct sequence. I'm not bothered by the sequence. Sequence नहीं. सिर्फ ये बताओ which one of the following do you think is the odd one out? बस odd one out, students. Question number 9. Odd one out. Impress. So first लिखा हुआ है the Renaissance period emphasized realism and humanism, which artists like Leonardo da Vinci leading the way. ठीक है. Impressionism broke from tradition by focusing on light and color, often painting outdoors. Cubism, pioneered by Picasso, fragmented objects into geometric shapes. Digital art has expanded creative possibilities to software. Surrealism. So it talks about uh, different kinds of way in which they decided to paint things. But I think digital art जो है उस टाइम से रिलेटेड नहीं है. ये कब की बात हो रही है? We're talking about times of Leonardo da Vinci and Picasso. So at that moment, digital art was it a thing, students? Was digital art a thing at that time? Of course not. So this is unrelated. The correct answer here would be 4, which means the statement 4 is the one which is odd one out among these 5. All right, guys. That was your question. क्योंकि realism, humanism, ये सब imperialism, cubism, surrealism, ये सब ठीक है. ये सब ठीक है. But digital art, how can digital art make sense here? Here again, let's move to question number 10, and I'm expecting correct answers for this one. क्योंकि ये थोड़ा easy है, and come on, बहुत से questions बता चुका हूँ. Let's see if you people can answer this question. Looking at this question, students, क्या लगता है यहाँ पे? The different parts talk about proteins, fats, vitamins, carbohydrates, but this talks about the benefits of physical activity and exercise. हाँ या ना? जल्दी बताओ. क्वेश्चन 10. क्या ऑप्शन 2 को बाहर कर दिया जाए? Should it be the odd one out, students? What do you think? Arnav is ready with his answer. What about other students? What about other students? हटा देते हैं. Of course, because the other sentences are talking about the talking about the qualities of different nutrients, but sentence 2 जो है, it is talking about physical activity and advantages of exercise. So let's let's say that 2 has to be the correct answer here. Let's move to the next question, students. What do you think is the odd one out here? It's economics based. It is economics based. Let's see if you can answer this question, students. I can give you 20 seconds for this. All right, seems like Arnav is in some kind of streak. He's giving all correct answers, which is good to see. Yes, correct answers from Ashi as well. Chalo, that's good to see. That's good to see. So again, international trade, supply, demand की बात हो रही है, but three talks about unemployment. So that would be the one that I would say is the odd one out. नेक्स्ट क्वेश्चन स्टूडेंट्स, बहुत सारे क्वेश्चंस आज आपको ऐसे मिलने वाले हैं, बहुत सारे क्वेश्चंस आज आपको ऐसे मिलने वाले हैं जो मजा आएगा आपको. थैंक यू. आई थिंक ऑफ कोर्स वो वीडियोस आपने देखे हैं, सो आई हैव ट्राइड कि उसमें चीजें जितनी इजी हो जाए, है ना, एक प्रैक्टिस हो जाए फॉर ऑल बीबी एंट्रेंस एग्जामिनेशंस. अभी ऑफ कोर्स सीरीज इज फॉर IIM बैंगलोर बीएससी प्रोग्राम, बट गोइंग मूविंग ऑन, हमारे पास जिप मैट रोहतक इंदौर सारे सेशंस आएंगे ऑफ कोर्स लाइन से. हियर इज क्वेश्चन नंबर 12 स्टूडेंट्स. Here is question number 10. So, the launch of Sputnik in 1957 marked the beginning of space age. ठीक है, अपोलो प्रोग्राम, वोएजर, इंटरनेशनल, ठीक है. तो प्रॉब्लम क्या है यहाँ पे? प्रॉब्लम है, प्रॉब्लम है. Statement 5 is the problem, students. Satellite technology has revolutionized communication, weather forecasting. This talks about satellite technology of the modern day, whereas the other sentences were talking about history of what we have done so far. So Ashi, correct answers, and of course Arnav, correct answers. Let's move to the next question. Moving on to question number 13, students. What is this all about? What is this all about? Question number 13, guys. Question 13, odd sentence. There will be 4 sentences जो सिर्फ एक टॉपिक पे डिस्कशन कर रहे हैं. पांचवा सेंटेंस, that would be a black sheep in such sentences. वो black sheep आपको ढूंढना है. One who is a disgrace to this group. Not a disgrace, but someone that one that doesn't fit in here. So first one talks about burning of fossil fuel release greenhouse gases which trap heat in the atmosphere. ठीक है. Deforestation reduces planet's capacity. ठीक है. Rising global temperature. ठीक है. So all these talk about the problem, and the fifth one And the fifth one talks about the solution. लो. Now the fifth sentence is looking at me कि यार मैं आपको solution दे रहा था और आपने मुझे ही odd one out कर दिया. Such is the nature of human beings, isn't it, students? Such is the nature of human beings. So yes, fifth is the odd one out. I apologize to statement 5, though it was providing the solution, but that was the solution in general, not the solution to our question. We are done with question 13. I'm sure that the Josh is super high. Let's move to question number 14 now. Question number 14, students. Question number 14, students. Question number 14, guys. So she's ready with her answer. She says the first one should be correct. What about other students? What do you people think? The first one, Shakespeare plays explores universal themes such as love, power, jealousy, remaining relevant today. Invention of writing allow us for the preservation of text, leading to epic poems like the Iliad. Novel emerges as dominant, ठीक है. Modernist literature, oral traditions. So they all talk about the history, but the first one, the first one takes it to a different direction. फर्स्ट वन कह रहा है कि बाकी सबको छोड़ो लेट्स ओनली टॉक अबाउट शेक्सपियर एंड हिज वर्क which is of course not the case in this question. A should be Shakespeare's plays explore universal themes such as love, power, and jealousy, remaining relevant today. I know it's true, but it doesn't fit in the context. It doesn't fit in this group of sentences that we have. So, one would be the odd one out in this question, students. We are done till question number 14. That means we have had 10 questions. I beg your pardon, not 10. I think we had 8 questions on RCs. 6 questions the students on odd sentences out. And I'm sure थोड़ा और practice करोगे, odd sentences would not be a problem for my students now. What do we have in store next? What do we have in store next, students? क्या लगता है? क्या टॉपिक है जो परेशान करता है? क्या टॉपिक है जिसमें अभी तक भी यू आर नॉट फीलिंग दैट कॉन्फिडेंट? अभी भी लग रहा है सर होगा नहीं होगा, आई जस्ट कीप गेसिंग, आई एम नॉट सो श्योर. क्या टॉपिक लगता है? आई नो व्हाट टॉपिक दैट isn't that grammar, students? Isn't that grammar? Grammar is such a topic that a lot of you take it for granted. You feel grammar ये कौन सी बड़ी चीज है, स्कूल में पढ़ रहे हैं सब आता है. बट ट्रस्ट मी, जो आप स्कूल में पढ़ रहे हो अच्छा पढ़ रहे हो, आई एम नॉट डिनाइंग दैट. But academic English, competitive exam का English, these are two different things. So there has to be that subtlety जिस पर आपको ध्यान देना है. What do you think is the grammatical error in this question? The question is segregated into 4 parts. You have to decide which part contains the error, number one. And additionally, if you can tell कि sir error correction क्या है. Error detection भी करना है, error correction भी करना है. That is what your intention should be. So here is your question, guys. Here is question number 15. Here is question number 15. Here is question number 15, students. Where do you think lies the grammatical error? Do you make money in an asset or do you invest money in an asset? Invest होना चाहिए पहले. There cannot be any situation where somebody invests money in an asset located in India and does not pay tax either to India or to the country of his own origin. So there was error in part B of this sentence, students. There was error in part B of this sentence. एंड हमने दोनों काम करने हैं. एरर डिटेक्शन भी करना है, एरर करेक्शन भी करना है. दैट वाज क्वेश्चन 15. Let's move to question number 16. Let's see if you people can crack this question, if you can identify the error. दोनों काम, of course, error detection, error correction. If you can do that, I hope the text is visible. Seems like it is. Let's try to answer question number 16, students. Here is the next question, students. Now, India has entered a downward spiral where the organized, productive, and law abide sectors. इसमें प्रॉब्लम क्या है? इसमें प्रॉब्लम क्या है? ये देखना. See, article है. See, here we have an article. Then we have an adjective. We have another adjective. And law abide. Abide is a verb, students. Abide is a verb. And sectors noun. So all these adjectives that we are using are for sectors. यहां पर और पार्ट सी में जो एडजेक्टिव है वो करेक्ट नहीं लिखा हुआ है. द करेक्ट एडजेक्टिव शुड बी लॉ अबाइडिंग. Law abiding. This is an adjective, students. This is an adjective. We say we all are law abiding citizens of our country. These are law abiding sectors. So that is what we were required to do in this question. Error detection kiya, error correction kiya, and we are done with this question now. So part C of this question contains a grammatical error, students. That was question number 16 for you. Let's move to another question. Let's move to another question on error detection. Another question. We have We have two more questions on error detection, students, and I'm sure आप उसे crack कर पाएंगे. Here is the next one. Here is question number 17, students. So for question 17, I think Arnav is ready with his answer. What about the other students? Next question, students. The bank may have followed an aggressive monetary tightening policy, but its stated aim of curbing inflation have not been achieved. Stated aim, students. And aim is a singular subject. I think you people now know which in which direction we are moving. Singular subject, singular subject. आगे की लाइन आप बता दो भी. सिंगुलर सब्जेक्ट क्या, सिंगुलर सब्जेक्ट के साथ क्या करना है? प्लूरल सब्जेक्ट के साथ क्या करना होता है? सारे हिंट्स दे चुका हूं, सब कुछ बता चुका हूं, सिर्फ बचता है आपका आंसर करना. सर, सिंगुलर सब्जेक्ट टेक्स अ सिंगुलर वर्ब, and the moment I say it takes a singular verb, should be replaced by has. So part D of this sentence contained a grammatical error. Part D of this sentence contained a grammatical error. Yes, that is what the other students have to say as well. Plural subject, plural verb, singular subject, singular subject, singular verb. ये बात तो बच्चा बच्चा जानता है. सब्जेक्ट वर्ब अग्रीमेंट बहुत पढ़ाया है मैंने आपको. Let's move to another question, and this is, my dear students, the last question on error detection. यहाँ पर आके error detection grammar होगा खत्म. इसके बाद I have something else in store for you people, so don't go anywhere. Let's answer this question. A customized data science degree is yet to become a standard program to India's premier educational institutes. Where do you think lies the grammatical error? Which part? Which part, students? टॉपिक भी बता दो, किस टॉपिक का एरर है? कैन यू टेल मी द ग्रामर टॉपिक? कौन सा ग्रामर टॉपिक है जिसमें आपको लग रहा है एरर है, जिससे रिलेटेड एरर है? Which topic are we talking about? Yes, Preeti has answered. So has Arnav. It should be the topic that you people say is preposition. And the fourth part is the one that contains the error. A standard program in India's premier educational institution. In India's premier educational institutions. So there was error in part D, and you people have said. तो बहुत ज्यादा इस पे डिस्कशन अब मेरी तरफ से होता है खत्म. We are done with the grammar part. What do we have in store now? We have phrasal verbs and some different kind of phrasal verbs. Here is question number 19. Before answering the question, I would request you people कि यार एक बार ना directions अच्छे से पढ़ लेना. एक बार directions अच्छे से पढ़ लो and I'm sure you will answer this question quickly. So in the following sentences, substitute the underlined phrase with any of the choices to express the opposite meaning, not similar meaning. We need to express opposite meaning, the students. Here is your question number 19 for today's session. She always praises everything I say. So praise, it's a positive word, I can say. That's the only hint I can give you people for this question. तो करेक्ट आंसर क्या होना चाहिए? Pick holes in dislikes, rebuke, pick holes too. Question number 19. क्या बोलती है पब्लिक? So pick holes in would be correct. Pick holes is finding faults into something. Pick holes is finding faults. So A में जो बात लिखी है, that would be the opposite to the word that is underlined. No, I don't think any of this could be the answer. Dislike एक अलग होगा. Praise is, giving accolades to someone. It is not like. Like का opposite dislike होता है. Rebuke is criticism. ऐसा कोई formation होता नहीं है. So correct answer should be option A. Moving to question 20. He often says how wonderful his school is. So we need a phrase, we need a phrasal verb that can replace. Yes, we need to find the most precise one. So in this case again we need the most precise phrasal verb. मुझे इसको किसी word या किसी sentence से replace नहीं कर रहा है. Although अगर कोई word या कोई sentence it means the same, आप उसे use नहीं करोगे. You would use a phrasal verb that is correct. So phrasal verb आपको बताना है in question number 20 students. Phrasal verb in question number 20. Often says how wonderful, तो इसको मुझे undermine करना है, इसके importance को मुझे कम करना है. So it should be runs down, undermine, undermine, undermine. I know I'm not ambidextrous, but sometimes I try to experiment with my left hand as well. So D is the correct answer, students, to this question. Here is another one. So यहाँ पर idiom ऐसा use करना है आपको. She said I was the best boss they have ever had. It was obvious she was praising me sincerely. इसका opposite क्या phrase हो सकता है, students? We need a phrase that means to praise insincerely. Praise insincerely के लिए कौन सा यहाँ पे option आपको दिख रहा है? Praise insincerely के लिए कौन सा option आपको दिखता है? The correct answer is buttering me up. Buttering someone is to just praise, just pay lip service. You're not sincere about what you have to say, right? So that was the question number 21. Now here you have to choose the correct sentence. कौन सा sentence इसमें से correct है student? So the correct answer to this question, please stop interfering in my romantic life. So ये कौन से पार्ट से बन रहा है ये चीजें? This is from the topic fixed preposition, students. This is from the topic fixed preposition. There are certain verbs जिसके साथ preposition क्या use होगा ये fix होता है. So interfere in something. So as one of you said, sir, क्या थोड़ा जल्दी जल्दी चलें? Shall we increase the speed? I think we should. Let's answer the next question. Let's answer the next question. Your grammar is very good, but you need to work on dash मैनेजिंग करेक्टिंग. आपको सिर्फ ये डिसाइड करना है कि इन चारों में से कौन सा वर्ड करेक्ट है. बताओ. चलो we'll try to fasten up. Which of the following words do you think would be correct? What do you need to do on your pronunciation? Do you need to repair your pronunciation? क्या pronunciation कोई machine है that needs repair? नहीं. मैनेज नहीं करना है, मॉडिफाई भी नहीं करना है, ऑफ कोर्स फेक फेक एक्सेंट नहीं लाना है. Correct your pronunciation given in option B must be your correct answer here. Must be your correct answer. Next question, students. Now this is sentence completion. Sentence completion पर अब हम आ गए हैं और इसके बाद we will have para completion. So first let's focus on sentence completion, students. I'll move out of the frame, give you people time to read the question. Question number 24. सेंटेंस कंप्लीशन क्या कर रहे हो बताओ. Archaeologists believe that the pieces of red ware pottery excavated recently near Bhavnagar and Dash shed light on hitherto dark 600-year period in the Harappan history of Gujarat. तो देखते हैं. पीसेस ऑफ पॉटरी है सो आर नहीं हो सकता. इसमें मॉडिफायर्स मिसप्लेस्ड हैं. द करेक्ट आंसर शुड बी डी. एस्टिमेटेड विथ रीजनेबल सर्टेनिटी टू अबाउट 3400 years old. ये एट अबाउट लिखा हुआ है इसलिए इनकरेक्ट है. विद रीजन एज बीइंग अबाउट लिखा हुआ है इसलिए इनकरेक्ट है. सो द मॉडिफायर्स आर मिसप्लेस्ड इन ऑप्शंस ए एंड ऑप्शन सी एंड ऑप्शन बी में आर लिखा हुआ है. दैट इज माय रीजन ऑफ रिजेक्टिंग दैट ऑप्शन. सो दैट वाज क्वेश्चन 24 स्टूडेंट्स. आगे बढ़ते हैं फटाफट टू क्वेश्चन नंबर 25. Question number 30 25. एंड ऑफ कोर्स म्यूजिक कैसेट्स ऑडियो कैसेट्स यहाँ पर लिखा हुआ है. इट टेक्स मी बैक टू माय ओल्ड डेज, माय यंगर डेज. ऑडियो कैसेट्स वर सच अ थिंग. आई नो मॉडर्न डे में ऑडियो कैसेट इज नथिंग बट अ डायनासोर फॉर यू पीपल, बट इट यूज्ड टू बी अ थिंग इन आवर डेज. सो देखते हैं हाउ वुड यू टैकल दिस क्वेश्चन स्टूडेंट्स. Question 25. Many people suggest that dash. So suggest, I suggest doing something. With suggest we use verb ing form. So bring and ये bring वाला और ये cut हो गया. Now bringing down audio cassette prices to reduce the incident. अब यहाँ पे क्योंकि suggest लिखा हुआ है, so the verb has to be in the same manner. Others advocate strong legal action against offenders. So an this is an example, students, of something we call parallelism. Something we call parallelism मतलब parallel structure होना चाहिए, similar structure होना चाहिए. The problem with this question was about the structure that we need to follow. As I can see, you people have answered option C, so there's no point discussing this question now. Here is question number 26, students. Grammatical structuring आपको देखना है basically यहाँ पे. Here is the next question. So for question number 26, okay. The Egyptian believed, the ancient Egyptian believed, I think यहाँ पर must have लिखा हुआ है ना. This makes it superfluous. This is why A is incorrect. C would be correct. It was essential for things नहीं होगा. It was essential that the things they portrayed had every relevant feature shown as clearly as possible. Because of certain superfluous expression, option A was incorrect. Option B, it was essential से start हो रहा है for things they portrayed होना चाहिए because believed something that happened in the past, so B cannot be correct. That when they portrayed things, it नहीं होना चाहिए था, it should be they here. So that is my reason of eliminating and or should I say not choosing the other options. That was question 26 for you. Now starts some questions जहां पर last में last sentence missing है. So this I believe becomes a little easy. Let's try question number 27, students. Question number 27, students. Question number 27. Philosophy of music has been dominated by the view that the best music is autonomous and formally complex. As recently as 1990, philosophy of popular music consisted of variations on a single theme. Philosophers defended the twin assumptions that popular music is different from serious or art music, and that the former is we are talking about popular music, is aesthetically inferior to the latter. As a result, what might happen? Huh. So as a result, popular music competes and replaces local and regional folk tradition. Local and regional folk tradition से compete करता है. How to join top rankers? Of course, बेटा वीडियो के नीचे आपको description दिख रहा होगा. This is where you can go and join the classes because classes में of course और डिटेल में चीजें हम सारी पढ़ रहे हैं. अभी हम सिर्फ रैपिड रिवीजन कर रहे हैं. So for IPMAT Rohtak, JIPMAT Indore, for all these exams, that is how you can join top rankers classes. So B must be the correct answer. आप लोग क्या आंसर कर रहे हैं? Do you want to have a discussion around any of the other options, students? I can give you 10 seconds for it. 10 seconds, guys. I'm so sorry. We are not going to discuss about universities. I think Rahul sir is making a plethora of videos on universities. वो आप देखिए. That would be a big help. Here in this session, we can only talk about the VARC sections. So I think we are done with question 27. किसी बच्चे को कोई doubt नहीं है. Let's move to question number 28, students. Again, we have a blank at the end of the sentence, and you have to decide कि भाई कौन सा part उसे replace करेगा. So, what is drug addiction, and how do we as Indians treat drug addiction, and how it should be treated? That is what this passage is about. Are you people ready with the answers? The life of a drug addict is tough, and an addict in India is usually from a poor and broken home. It is therefore pointless to victimize him or her by jailing as done in India. So, this short passage sees that drug addiction as a problem instead of a crime. It sees it as an addiction जिसको शायद हमें सही करना सोचना चाहिए uh, instead of putting someone behind bars. Had incarceration, that is jailing, reduced addiction, this penal system could have been tolerated. But year after year, drug addiction has only increased, and so has drug trafficking. So जेल में डालना is not the solution. अभी तक ये discussion चल रहा है. How would this discussion end? How would this discussion end, students? The drug addiction has to be treated as an illness and not punished as a crime. I think A is a good one here. It is time for India to revise its policy for heaping already defeated person rehabilitation. B or D to eliminate hoga, students. Now the decision must be taken about A and C. Drug addiction, when treated as an illness and not as crime, can be controlled effectively. And यहाँ पर लिखा has to be. So ये एक बड़ा ही extreme सा option हो गया. We are not looking for extremities. We are looking for possible solutions to treat this menace of drug addiction. इसीलिए the correct answer should be option C, students, and not A. A में बड़ा ही एक strict सी बात हो गई, बड़ी extreme सी बात हो गई. That is why I eliminated it. And C has to be the correct answer, students. Moving on to question number 29, students. See, when we have to, when we have a blank at the end of a sentence, we should try to close out that discussion instead of starting something new or instead of continuing what is already being discussed. We should try to close it out. It should be like a summary. We should try and summarize it. So ऐसा कुछ मुझे देखना चाहिए कि यहाँ पर वही बात होनी चाहिए जो बात ऑलरेडी इस पार्ट में हो चुका है, जो बात ऑलरेडी इस पार्ट में हो चुका है. So the freedom to run, copy, distribute, study, change, and improve the software used in public services is imperative. Otherwise, the proprietary firms will continue monopolizing this space. Monopolize करते जाएंगे. यहाँ पर ऊपर लिखा हुआ है, ये आईसीटी का रेफरेंस है. And of course, monopoly होगा तो फिर it would prove to be very expensive. So जो ये option A में लिखा है, cost of ICT deployment innovation will be huge. Option A continues the discussion, whereas what I said, when we have a blank at the end of the sentence, our intention should be to close out that discussion instead of continuing it or instead of adding some new idea to it. So इसीलिए I think C should be the correct answer for question 29. Let's move to question number 30, students. Question number 30, students. Yes, Tarun, I think the session was postponed. I think it's postponed for tomorrow. I think it was ask me anything type question. Ask me anything type session. All right, guys. Modi's compelling victory in which BJP claimed India's strongest mandate in 30 years. Dash. The challenge for India is no longer about the world impinging on its choices, but to use its economic and political weight to shape the external environment to its benefit. ठीक है. अब will have assure नहीं हो सकता. Will assure him is correct. Will assure him get a control. You do not have control on things. You have control over things. So more than this being a question of para completion, it was a question of grammar skills students की control के साथ क्या preposition use करना है क्या preposition use करना है. So it should be control over. यहाँ control on लिखा हुआ है ये eliminate हो गया. So as I said, this was more a question of your grammar skill, more a test of your grammar skills instead of para completion. Yes, guys, I think B is the correct answer. That was question 30 for you. Let's move to question number 31. This is again more about grammar skills, students. This is again more about grammar skills. Question number 31, students. Question number 31. Question 31. Again, थोड़ा सा grammar related question है. Singapore's would be correct. So C और D तो इसके answers नहीं होंगे. What do you think should be the correct answer, A or B? You have to choose now between options A and B, guys. So for this question, I think A must be the correct answer. And despite ये दोनों यहाँ पर चाहिए. Though a population would be incorrect. We need a conjunction as well as a preposition here. So again, students, I would say this was a test of your grammar skills, not para completion skills. That was question 31. Moving on to question number 32, students. Can you answer this question? I think in this question there's some error बिकॉज सी और डी में जो बात लिखी है दे आर द सेम, और इज इट सेम स्टूडेंट्स? व्हाट डू यू थिंक? Do you see any difference in option C and D? Do you see any difference in option C and D? I don't think there is. So let's skip this question for the moment. Here is question number 33, students. यहाँ पर blank है. Question number 33, guys. They're not same, or are they? It was an iconic beginning where an act of smuggling inaugurated the transfer of technology. Had no idea of this development and was as termed as the government of India. Same है बेटा. They are same. Iconic and ironic. अच्छा अच्छा अच्छा. Okay, okay. I missed out on it. I missed out on it. D must be the correct answer, students. ठीक है. Ironic. Why was it ironic? Because it was an act of smuggling. It was just an act of smuggling that turned out to be such a hit. That turned out to be such a hit. I apologize for it. I think D must be the correct answer here. Next question, students. Now these are para summary questions, students. Para summary. यहाँ पे कोई blank नहीं है. This is a summary based question. So we are done with the completion part. Now we have questions related to para summary. Let's see if you can answer these questions. These are questions of para summary. You have to summarize the part that you have read. Para summary, students. Minimalism is a philosophy that has gained traction as our lives become increasingly saturated with technology. We are so involved, so intrigued in technology. The concept popularized by Cal Newport argues that we should be intensely selective about the digital tools we allow into our lives, focusing only on those that strongly support our deeply held values. This isn't about rejecting technology, but there has to be a cautious decision. Newport himself is a computer scientist, but about using it with intention rather than allowing it to use us. ये बात कहाँ सबसे अच्छे तरीके से समराइज हुई है स्टूडेंट्स? The correct answer, the correct summary, as you people have said, is given in option A. Option A में perfectly summarized है. Digital minimalism is a philosophy advanced by Cal Newport, advocates for selective use of technology based on personal values to counter addictive design. Though critics note it may reflect privilege, while supporters emphasize its benefit for reclaiming attention. See, when you're trying to identify कि summary क्या है, so when you're reading the passage, try and understand कि यार ये तीन चार pointers जो है ना ये summary में होने चाहिए. If you're able to identify those important 3-4 pointers when you're reading the passage, वही चीज आपको समरी में ढूंढने जाना है. सो देयर माइट बी एन ऑप्शन जिसमें दो पॉइंटर्स हैं, बट दो पॉइंटर्स, दो इंपॉर्टेंट इंफॉर्मेशन वो मिस कर गया है. सो दैट कैन नॉट बी द समरी. वो उसका पार्ट है, समरी नहीं है. समरी में वो सारे इंपॉर्टेंट क्रिटिकल पॉइंटर्स कवर होने चाहिए. दैट इज हाउ यू शुड अप्रोच क्वेश्चंस बेस्ड ऑन समरी. So here is your next question, students. Here is your next question. I can only give you 40-50 seconds for this question, students. I can only give you 40-50 seconds for this question. So for this question, the search of extraterrestrial intelligence. तो जो भी important बातें हैं, students, you see those important things in option A, and that has to be the correct summary. Summary based questions can be a little boring at times. You might wonder, सर पूरा रीड करना पड़ेगा. यस, करना पड़ेगा. दे आर बोरिंग, बट दे आर स्कोरिंग एज वेल, स्टूडेंट्स. सो समरी के क्वेश्चंस, समरी के मार्क्स हमें मिस आउट नहीं करने किसी भी कीमत पे. दैट वाज क्वेश्चन 34. ये क्वेश्चन थोड़ा सा नीचे चला गया है. Okay, let's try this one. Let's try this one and let's try to answer among these three. चलो D को भूल जाओ. Let's try to answer. Let's try to find the summary of this passage among options A, B and C. A, B और C में ही आप इसका summary ढूंढ सकते हो. Here is question 36. I don't think B is correct. एक बार मैं read करता हूँ. Rise of plant-based meat alternatives has sparked intense debate about their environmental credentials. While these products generate significantly lower greenhouse gas emissions than conventional beef, their production relies on highly processed ingredients like pea, protein, isolate, and requires substantial energy input. So I think option A covers both the sides, both the story. कि क्यों ये beneficial है and what are the problems that we face with plant-based meat. Read option A, read the passage, and then you'll realize why is the correct answer. All right, guys, we are done with 36. Let's try 38 now. 38 students. Let's try question number 38. Question number 38. Awe is a complex emotion that has received interesting attention from psychologists in recent years. Defined as a feeling of being in the presence of something vast that transcends our understanding of the world. Awe can be triggered by everything from natural wonders to extraordinary human achievements. Research suggests that experiencing awe regularly can reduce stress, increase life satisfaction, and even make us more generous and collaborative. One study found that awe diminishes our sense of self. So it talks about why is it, what is it, and how is it evoked. So I think A must be the correct answer. Awe is a powerful emotion triggered by vast transcendent experience that can improve well-being and pro-social behavior. But modern lifestyles and emotion spontaneous nature make it difficult to cultivate deliberately. The correct answer should be option A. Increasingly studied emotion. I think ये बात जो option D में लिखी हुई है ना, that is what makes it incorrect. So D cannot be correct, students. Let's answer question number 40. Let's try and find the summary for question number 40. And then we have a couple of more questions. Question number 40, students. So quiet quitting doesn't actually involve quitting. It represents a recalibration of employee effort to match their compensation and job description. The term went viral on TikTok as young workers rejected hustle culture and the unpaid emotional labor that often accompanies them. For leaders, this phenomena signals a breakdown in the psychological contract between employer and employee, where extra effort was once given freely in exchange of perceived stability. It was perceived कि job stable होगा. The challenge isn't that employees are doing less, it's that they are doing exactly what they are paid to do, which exposes how much organizations have depended on free discretionary effort. I think A is the one that sums it up very well. Option A में इसका summary लिखा हुआ है. We will come up with those sessions, Faizan. Don't worry. Just take it one exam at a time. अभी IIM Bangalore BSc program पे work करते हैं, फिर क्राइस्ट पे डिस्कशन करेंगे, फिर इंदौर पे डिस्कशन करेंगे, रोहतक पे करेंगे, जिपमैट पे करेंगे, और जो IIM अपने बीबी एंट्रेंस एग्जाम निकाल रहा है, बीएससी एंट्रेंस एग्जाम निकाल रहा है, सबके ऊपर डिस्कशन होगा. डोंट वरी. We are done with the summary thing, students, and that brings us to the penultimate question of today's session. We'll do question 41 and 43. So you have to tell me the statement जहां पे guard का meaning correct नहीं है, guard correctly use नहीं हुआ है. A type of question that you people are familiar with. If you have seen I am Indoors paper, वहां पर ऐसे there are 4 to 5 such questions like this. So here is your question number 41, students. Despite the barraging of questions by media person, the politician did not let his guard slip even for a moment. I think this is correct usage. We can guard ourselves against seasonal infections. I think this is also correct. The celebrity is always escorted by an armed guard. This is also correct. So कहाँ पर guard और उससे related phrase incorrect है? I think it's an option D. The seemingly innocent question posed by the defense lawyer proved to be the last nail in the coffin where the convict was caught. The phrase guard तो ठीक लिखा है पर पूरा phrase जो है वो गलत है. It should be caught off guard. It should be caught off guard. So option D is the one that was correct. And Bacha Party, that brings us to the last question of today's discussion. This is the last question of today's discussion, and this is the word that is highlighted. A word is highlighted in bold. Choose the synonym for the word. You have to choose the synonym for the word remorse. And as we come to the end of this session, I'm pretty sure that this rapid revision series was helpful for you people. इसके पहले मैंने 4-5 सेशंस और लिए हैं यूट्यूब पे ऑन पैरा समरी, पैरा जंबल, डबल फिलर, ट्रिपल फिलर. वो भी जाकर आप देख सकते हो. दे विल बी हेल्पफुल ऑफ कोर्स फॉर योर IIM Bangalore program, moving forward to Christ, and the upcoming exams that we'll have in the next year, that is JIPMAT Rohtak and Indore. So here is your question number 43, student. Remorse के लिए synonymous word मुझे ढूंढना है. So remorse is regret or guilt. Remorse is regret or guilt. Phew. So that Bacha Badi brings us to the end of today's discussion. I am pretty sure everyone enjoyed the session, and I would like to know कि और कैसे सेशंस और कैसे टॉपिक्स और कौन से वो चैप्टर्स हैं जो आपको ट्रबल कर रहे हैं. Do tell me in the comment section. I'll be back, students. For the moment now, it's time to say bye bye. Thank you so much. Bye, everyone.